Here we are on this Thursday evening. It's the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video weather for Weather Geeks. We're heading into mid-June. We're heading into perhaps a pretty rare heat event across our area by next week. We're going to talk all about that in this video. What a fine Thursday we had today. Yes, it was warm, but it came with enough of a breeze and low enough humidity that it was pretty nice outside this afternoon. We made it to 86 at the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport. Now, 86 with low humidity and a breeze will sound like paradise by this time next week when we're dealing with heat index values up around the 100-degree mark. But we spent most of today with dew points in the 50s, and as you probably know if you're watching this video, during the summer season, anytime dew points are in the 50s, we generally consider that to be pretty comfortable. For most folks, once the dew point starts getting above 60, and especially into the middle and upper 60s, that's when most of us think it's pretty humid and pretty uncomfortable outside. We are going to be dealing with those kinds of dew points, I'm afraid, next week. In the meantime, cold front heading our way, and well out ahead of the front, we have a severe weather risk this evening. All the counties in yellow under a severe thunderstorm watch. This extends from extreme northwest Ohio through extreme southern Michigan, northern Indiana, parts of Illinois as well. Some of these thunderstorms are sneaking towards the Toledo area this evening, but I'm expecting these to kind of wane overnight. Now, we may see the residual moisture from this line eventually tonight, maybe a stray shower or two overnight, but not expecting any severe weather around here overnight. But we do have elevated rain chances in our Friday forecast. Don't forget you can get these hourly forecasts anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app. It's a free app. It's the best weather app you can download for Eastern Ohio and Western PA. We think the most numerous raindrops will probably be right around midday-ish on Friday, but if you are going to be outside, whether you have a golf round planned or you work outside, those sorts of things, just prepare for, at just about any point, the possibility anyway, of a passing shower or a thunderstorm. It should all be pretty garden variety stuff, although a heavier, gustier storm, something that can't be ruled out, especially around and south of Route 30, down into the panhandle of West Virginia, and heading over towards the Pittsburgh area, over towards Altoona, Johnstown, State College, and Central PA. But in most of the Youngstown area, most of our viewing area, any thunderstorm would be pretty garden variety, in other words, non-severe. And we think the last of the raindrops will probably clear from north to south between, say, 3 and 5 p.m. After that, we should have a really nice summer evening, Friday evening, with lowering dew points, nice little northerly breeze, clear skies, great sunset Friday evening, and a great start to the weekend. Saturday will be just delightful, just like today, just not as warm as today. We'll be in the upper 70s on Saturday with gentle breeze and low dew points. Couldn't really ask for much more out of a June day. A few clouds coming in along a warm front, or ahead of a warm front, then Saturday night. And then it turns mostly sunny Sunday, and temperatures will start to be off to the races. So weekend forecast shaping up like this. A seasonable, beautiful Saturday, 78 degrees. We'll start out Sunday in the 50s, but it'll be a fast warm-up, kind of like today. It's pretty comfortable at the start of the day today with temperatures in the 50s, but we were in the 80s before you knew it, and we are expecting about 87 for Father's Day on Sunday. All right, let's talk about the heat next week. This is more and more impressive looking on a lot of our weather modeling. Here's one model depiction of kind of the ridge trough pattern across North America by next week. By Monday, we have a strengthening ridge of high pressure. That's this circular area down over the Carolinas and Georgia. This thing will continue to strengthen and drift to the north, and so we'll have a bona fide heat dome setting up across the eastern U.S. Now, these brown colors here, we don't see these a lot on upper level maps in our part of the country. These domes of high pressure or heat are more common out here. You don't see them centered over Pennsylvania and New York very often. While this is just one model depiction of how strong this ridge will be, and probably it's the strongest looking of a lot of our weather models, even the weather models that don't show the ridge this strong are still pretty impressive with the strength of the ridge and the resultant heat and really unpleasant weather for most of us next week. And this ridge is going nowhere in a hurry. I think it's going to be here through the end of next week and perhaps even into the following weekend. We may have a good week to 10 days worth of pretty high heat coming our way. So when you factor in the heat, the rising dew points, and not much relief at night, that's a key factor next week. Oftentimes, our biggest problems in prolonged heat waves come because residents without air conditioning don't get much relief at night. It doesn't drop out of the 70s. It's kind of what we expect next week. So the highest excessive heat starts building east as early as Sunday and then really cranks up Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. You never want to see these purple colors over our part of the country. And there's a chance that some of our temperatures reach values that we haven't seen in a while. Now, we last had a 94 officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport in Vienna 2 years ago in July of 2022, but it's actually been since 2012 since we've been above 94. It's been since July of 2012 since we've been 95 to 98. We have not had temperatures reach the triple digits since that scorching hot summer that everybody remembers back in 1988. We actually saw 100 twice that summer. Officially in Youngstown, we have not been above 100 since it reached 102 back in the Dust Bowl area in July of 1936. And, the humidity is going to be a problem. So dew points are going to start rising appreciably by Monday. Even though Sunday is going to be pretty hot, the dew points will be fairly low. Not really a story, kind of like today. But by Monday, they're definitely a story. And so the heat index will top out probably pretty close to 100 during the course of next week. And again, this isn't just for a few days. This graphic goes out through next Thursday, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had heat index values well up into the 90s through Friday and into next weekend as well. And, it's summer. A lot of people will poo-poo this. It's summer. It's supposed to be hot. Bring it on, a lot of people say. Well, be careful what you wish for, especially if you have friends or loved ones who are vulnerable to high heat and humidity. A lot of us are going to go from our air-conditioned house to our air-conditioned car to our air-conditioned workplace next week. And the heat, while unpleasant in your walk to your car and things like that, it won't be a huge deal for a lot of us. But for those who don't have air conditioning, there's going to be people that need to find cooling centers next week. And if you see a dog outside in the heat without proper shelter or water, make sure you report that. And if you have friends or loved ones who don't have air conditioning, maybe they live on an upper floor of an apartment building, things like that, make sure you're looking after them next week, because this is nothing to kind of downplay or poo-poo. And heat is easily the number one killer in the U.S. each and every year almost, and certainly the long-term averages show heat as the number one cause of fatalities related to weather in the United States. So this is a big deal not only locally, but I think it's going to be a similar situation in many big cities in the East: Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, New York City, Albany, Buffalo, even places that you don't typically think of as, real centers of high heat. They're going to be in on this next week, and the problem is going to be is that this isn't just a day or two. This could be a week or more, and we won't get much relief at night. So I'm a little bit concerned about there being some problems with particularly vulnerable populations next week in this kind of a setup. So we're going to have much more on future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for watching on this Thursday evening. We'll talk about the weekend and, of course, next week and more coming up on Friday evening.